So I bought a few arrows, just factory from Bass Pro Shop. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to take them to my good friend Richard, and he's got some equipment and know-how to kind of customize and build these arrows so that I can get the best performance out of them, both for target shooting, 3D, and hunting.
All right, so what we're going to do is on every one of these arrows, we're going to cut about 1 inch to 1.25 inches off the nock end of the arrow. What we're doing is we're taking the run out, the ends of the arrows. That tends to be where there's the least amount of straightness. So if these are .003s, which I believe that's what the X3s are, we're going to try and make them more like .001s. And by doing that, we're cutting off this much on this end, and we'll cut the rest off this end. Hopefully that takes most of the crooked part or the wobbly part of the arrows out of them. Obviously, the only way you can cut off the nock end is if you're actually refletching them. If they're already fletched, you're stuck with them the way they are right there. That's one of the advantages and pros of fletching your own arrows, is that you can make these things exactly the way you want and balance them out and do all of those sort of things. So we're going to get these all cut, and then we'll come back and start fletching them. Notice I'm not jamming the arrow into the saw and just cutting them straight across. I'm easing them into the blade and turning them slowly. And then as I get it completely cut through, I'm doing a whole nother turn to try and square that a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do is spine index this arrow. And what spine indexing means is we're going to try and find the stiffest part of this shaft, so that when we knock them, we're always going to put the cock vein on the stiffest part, so your arrows always react the same. Hopefully, if you go through this process, you won't have that one flyer out of the group. You're going to have they're all going to group together really, really well. So what we do is we set up our dial, and we've got that 0 on there. And if you see, when the arrow goes up, that's weak. When it goes down, that's stiff. So what I'm going to do is turn this. See, it went a little stiffer, and it went a little stiffer. And it went a little stiffer, and it went a little stiffer. See how we just keep getting a little stiffer? Eventually, it's got to go back up. See, now it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So we know right about there, chances are, it's not going to get any stiffer than that. So what I'm going to do is take a silver Sharpie. I'm going to make a dot right there. Actually, that's still on the label, so we'll bring it up just a little bit. And that'll tell us that's our stiff side, so when I go to fletch this, that dot will be up, and I'll put the cock vein on that particular mark, and hopefully these arrows will group together good. All right, so we're fletching these now, so we've got a wire knock jig with a Pittsburgh clamp. We're doing them in helical. This is a primer pen, and we're going to put the primer pen and run it on the base of the vein. That's going to help the glue adhere better. We're going to take a little super glue and we're going to smear some on the base of that vein. Don't go crazy with it. It's real easy to go crazy with it. The super glue goes a long way. So then we're going to click it on the magnets, slide it down where it needs to go, and slide it all the way down on the arrow shaft until we have it good and tight. And we're going to let it sit for about 10 seconds. And then we will pull the clamp off. I always let it sit a little longer on helical veins because of that curve in there. We'll naturally want to pull them loose. It should be about right. Loosen it a little bit, pull the clamp off. Bada bing, we're right there. We're going to take a Q-tip, run it down and kind of turn as we do it, pull off any excess glue, and boom, we've got one on there. Okay, now we're going to fletch a few arrows here for Adam to test out. In the spine indexing process, on this one we put the cock vein always directly on the spine index. There's our little mark right there. But on this one, because we're going to shoot fletch, which is basically an X, we want that to try and get that spine index directly between that X. So we're using a Bitzenberger jig because he wants the fletch and it's easier. So I've turned it, you can't really see it, but I turned it so that mark is here, which is almost straight down this line, which hopefully should put it about right when he starts shooting.
Okay, so now that we got these arrows spine index, cut to length, and fletch, both in 3 and 4 fletch, I'm going to give a few of these arrows a shot through my bare moment. After shooting a couple groups, I've noticed that my new arrows are consistently hitting about 3/4 to an inch high at 20 yards. So I'm just going to make a quick little adjustment with my Allen tool to move my entire sight housing up just a little bit to try to correct that issue and hopefully get a couple of these right on the money. Let's go see how we did. All right, not too bad for the first couple shots with the new set of arrows, and out here on a gusty day, getting about 15 to 20 mile an hour wind gusts out here. So I'm not going to get too upset about being off just a couple fractions of an inch. So pretty good grouping. I'm really excited about using these new arrows, and watch for the new video where I officially put the 3 fletch versus the 4 fletch at many different distances, and just see what happens. All right, see you guys later.